Are you good?
Yeah.
All right. Well, man, let's pray real quick. Daddy, we love you. God, we just thank you again for the opportunity just to be able to do this, God. We want to be able to, God, just to be light for you. God, we want to be able to be light to each other. God, I pray that this would not be the last time we meet. However, this will be the last time for this book. And I just pray that you would help us to, again, just take the meat of this book and apply it. So we can see change in our marriage. God, we love you. It's in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. I hear you. You better stop it, Remar. Yawning. We ain't got time for that right now. All right. So who wants to open the floor? What stood out to y'all? We got 3 chapters to go over in a short amount of time. So what stood out?
You can unmute yourself if y'all want to talk. Anything.
So super quick, we had to fast forward and jump to the last chapter because I really wanted to know what the last chapter said. So we kind of skipped a little bit. Did you guys finish?
We finished. Well, kind of.
Okay. Kind of. Yeah.
We kind of skimmed through all 3 chapters.
Okay.
Y'all crazy. I'm not even gonna lie to you, but we skimmed through it.
So the last chapter is exactly where Mike and I have been for the last couple of weeks, where it's talking about just the reality of the worship and the work and the toil and the trust.
Yeah.
And realizing your marriage can suck because you're not loving Jesus. You're not loving him enough, So that last chapter, if you haven't read it, definitely grab a pen and pencil or something that you can highlight because there's so many good nuggets there. I don't know. I just read it out loud to him and we were totally like, that's you. And he's getting mad at me and I'm getting mad at him. But it's very powerful.
I'll tell you something that kind of stood out, especially in chapter 15. So I can get to I got it marked. But it was talking about, when they were talking, 234, page 234. And it was talking about that it wasn't any, when they were talking about their marriage, it wasn't anything that had happened that was sinful, or there wasn't anything that kind of stood out. But here's this couple who's been married for 30 years. They're married for 30 years, and all of a sudden, man, they just want to throw in the towel. And I love what it said in the bottom of let's see, I'm looking for it. I apologize. It says, now get prepared because I'm about to surprise you. I think they quit doing the good things that make a marriage sturdy and beautiful, not because they had a bad marriage, but because they had a good marriage. And that just stood out to me, just huge. Man, when we get so complacent, we have a tendency to become stagnant and we start to atrophy. It's just like a muscle. The less you work it, the less it's going to grow, the less it's going to do work. And going back to what you just said, Mary, just talking about toil and trust, marriage has got to be one of the hardest things to do, because going back to the beginning of the book, it's 2 broken people coming into something that's supposed to be perfect in the image of God. However, you got two broken people trying to make it work. And the problem that it's not working is because you're not doing the work needed in order for it to work. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't because they had a bad marriage. It's because they had a good marriage.
Yeah.
And good is the enemy of great. Good is the enemy of great. Because, man, if you're just going to settle for good, you're never going to get to where God wants you to go. And it takes work. Thoughts, comments?
That's good.
Yeah,
Is the enemy great? No, that's solid. Solid. I'll write that down.
I know, page 269. The fundamental problem of every marriage, this is the last paragraph. The fundamental problem of every marriage is misplaced worship. The cure for every marriage is renewed worship of God. I feel like reading that chapter, I was like, maybe I should just work at a church.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Michael's like, yeah, maybe you should work in church. Maybe that's exactly where you need to work.
Oh,
True story.
man, that's cool.
True story.
True story.
I can see you answering some phones there, Mary.
Anybody else? What's up? What stood out, man? There's a whole lot to talk about. There's 3 chapters.
Or it can be anything.
Yeah, anything. Oh, Philly feel. All right, let's get real. How many of us actually read all 3 chapters? Oh, get it.
She gets an A+.
Yeah, so we all on the struggle bus. Okay, let's just get real. We all on the struggle bus.
Let's do this then. Let's talk about, since the beginning of our class to now, what have you felt like in your marriage has been something that you guys have been able to work through, or that you've seen yourself like applying what you've learned here in your marriage?
Good question. Good job. Way to go, baby.
Thanks.
Good job.
There you go. And all y'all need to read these chapters when we get off here.
Here's the deal. This is funny. I wish Jillian and Travis were on this call. I don't want to call them out. I so wish they were on this call, because they were going through something, and they were posting on Facebook. I can't remember what it was, but it was something that was what we read in the book. And I was like, remember the book, apply the book. And they're not on here to be able to talk about. I can't remember what it was.
It was something to do with affection.
Oh, yes.
He wanted a kiss or something
and she didn't want, I can't remember. It was funny. It was on Facebook. But anyway.
But anyway. Anybody want to talk about how things have been well, or it could have been like us. As soon as we started this book, we fought more than we ever had. That was us. True story.
I'll go ahead and talk since no one's talking.
All right. Good. Go, bro.
Good night, Kate. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like both ends of the spectrum here. Like, the book helps you start tackling issues, and then you start getting in arguments, and then you start peeling back the layers, and then you're like, all right, well, this is what I do wrong, this is what you do wrong, and all of a sudden you start working through it. And you know, Jessica, some of the things that we've seen change in a positive way is basically both of us being able to take I don't know, more criticism, I guess you can say, or not criticism, but just being able to talk and say, hey man, can you do this better? And hey, you know, babe, can you do this? Can you do this for me, without, you know, it turning into a, you know, you don't do this and I don't do this, and you do that and I don't do that. You know, I mean, for us, that's like the biggest, I mean, I don't know. It's one of the biggest issues I think we have is, you know, what role do each of us have, and sticking to the role. And then if there's an inconsistency, we talk about it, or we'll say something, and then it turns into a blow up thing. Whereas now it's kind of like we're both realizing, okay, we're both being selfish in the way we want to react here and deal with the situation, talk with the situation. So let's take a breath. Let's talk it out. And I mean, it's, you know, some issues are very sensitive, so you're more inclined to snap and just go right into the status quo of what you've been doing. And brings back all these other, things in the past that has been going on since we've been together. Like in five milliseconds, all that emotions and that rage comes back, and you just want to, but the biggest thing is it's the thing that resonates with me is being more selfless and not selfish. I'm not just I'm a very selfless person, but sometimes I react the way I want to react versus the way that God wants me to react. And that's just the biggest thing right there, is us being able to just work stuff out and talk it out and chew through your cheek sometimes on certain subjects. But I mean, this book has definitely opened up like a lot of the scenarios that he uses, really, oh, you know what, I can identify with that. And then she's like, you know what, I can identify with that. And then he paints the picture of that person, and it really is like, you know what, that's a character I don't like, that's me. And she would say the same exact thing. And it's realizing that you want to be more of your actual, your more accurate self, and just be each one of us calling each other out to be more of our accurate selves that we want to be, being able to take, I guess, what I'm trying to say is being able to take an open criticism / suggestion on, and it's really allowed us to talk it out, be a couple, be a partnership, and work and be able to get through without it turning into too much. I mean, it just turns out to sometimes be no big of a deal. And we're like, wow, that's really the way it should be. It shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, guys, we make it stuff out to be such a big deal. And it's not a big deal. It's just sometimes we don't agree on something or whatever, but just talk it out and keep talking it out, keep the emotions down, and don't make it a big deal, And it's just like sometimes we get past certain things that we used to blow up on. We're like, that's silly. Like, we used to blow up on that, and now we're talking it out. Now that's the beautiful side of it. There are other things that we're, still, I mean, nothing's perfect. But Jessica, to answer your question, the biggest thing about this book that's really helped us out is us kind of getting to know each other, ourselves, myself looking at certain scenarios and her looking at, and then being like, you know what, I don't want to be like that. And then we want to be more like this. So and I'm telling you, it's true, getting more, vertical and horizontal,
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
So anyway, I know I'm rambling a little bit, but, that's basically it in a nutshell.
Man, something I want to tackle real quick, man, was on 275. And it says, man, when your life is shaped by the worship of God, you don't try to do his job. When your life is shaped by the worship of God, you don't try to do his job. Man, there are many exhausted, frustrated, and discouraged husbands and wives out there because they are trying to do God's job. You see, it doesn't take too long in a marriage to be confronted with the reality that you have married a less than perfect person. It doesn't take very long to realize that you have married a person in need of growth and change. It is what you do with this realization that is so important. Again, there are husbands and wives who take it upon themselves to do God's job and try to turn their spouse into a person he or she needs to be. Man, Jess tells a story, especially within the first couple of years of our marriage, that she realized real quick that she was not going to change me. She couldn't change me. She doesn't have that power. And she talks about how she just went to chapter 16. She went to her knees, man. She went to praying. She went to praying. She went to praying. And, man, you don't realize it. You don't realize how much prayer and worship, actually prayer is worship. I believe what God says. God says he doesn't waste a tear. He bottles every tear. That's what it says. He bottles up every tear. He doesn't waste a tear. And her tears and her prayers, were one of the things that I believe really did help change me to figure out, man, I'm a broken mess and I need help. So how many of us, if we are honest, have a tendency to try to do God's job? I think all of us do.
Or we also will read something like this and we'll say, well, Matt needs to read that because that is him. He needs to read that. I'm going to underline it and maybe he'll read it, and instead of trying.
Stop screaming. They can hear you.
I am not yelling.
Oh, you scream.
Instead of looking at it, like we have a thing where, in the word, we talk, like sometimes Jesus is talking to the man, he's talking to a man, he's talking to the husband or whatever. And then there's some parts of the Bible he's talking to the wife. And then, so I will sometimes pinpoint what the Lord is saying to him and he'll say, why don't you stop reading my mail? And so it's like a thing we have with each other. So now we'll always say that to each other. Like if I find something that he needs to read, he'll be like, why don't you read your own mail? And that's kind of like our joke now, but it's true. Because when in our first years of our marriage, I would read books that he needed to read about loving your wife and all these kind of things. And it didn't help, it made me just more mad because I'm like, he needs to be doing all these things. He needs to read this book. He needs to go to counseling. He needs to, he. And then finally the Lord was just like, Jess, you have zero control over what he does. Zero. And that's where I also think the 100-0 comes in, where you need to love your spouse 100%, expecting him not to give you anything back. Because if you were to say, well, I'm going to love you 50-50, or I'm going to love you 100-100, then you're actually saying, I have control over how much you're going to love me. And that's not the case. We have no control over that. So that's why I just...
Keep talking. Oh, this is good. This is good. Thank you, Jesus.
You got something to say?
No, keep talking.
Anyway, anybody else got any examples? Anybody else feel like this book has changed their life?
So something that they said in church today, it was a little bit of a different sermon, but a statement that our pastor, it was a guest pastor that he made, was he was talking about his son, and he said he would tell his son, hey, you need to clean your room. And he would go up to his son's room. His son would say, I'm done. And he'd go up to his son's room and he'd be like, bro, you didn't clean your room. You just manipulated your mess. You just moved it from the floor to the closet and from the closet to under the bed. And that really stood out to me because I started thinking about like the things that we struggle with and how before this book, kind of how we were handling them is we just kind of move it around, I guess. Like we would, we weren't being like flexible and like trying to understand each other. We just kind of
Push it off
or manipulate the situation. So the mess was still there. It was just in a different spot. It would come up in different places. And I feel like, us having a more, like our relationships with the Lord individually have grown significantly. And it's really helped us be able to communicate. It doesn't mean that those problems aren't still there, but we can talk about them. So we kind of can start digging into it and instead of just pushing it to the side. And we found that we actually agree on a lot more things than we thought we did. We just express it differently. And sometimes the hard situations or the things that are hard to talk about have kind of brought us closer. Because I'm obviously, I'll know this because I want to move really close to my family, but I finally feel like I'm always like, I want to go home. I want to move back to Tennessee. But I realize like, this is home. No matter where we live, this is home. And I wasn't giving him that credit. I wasn't putting that amount of work into this relationship. I wasn't letting him be the leader of our household. I wasn't asking him to, expecting him to, and now I am, which I think is a lot of pressure. But when they said that this morning, I thought that's what we've been doing since we got married, is just moving the problems around, but not really trying to understand what they are, where they come from. And I think this book has helped a lot, like point out, because I do that a lot. Oh, Jeff, you need to read this. You need to, I've given him so many books that he's never read, because I'm like, this will help. This will make things better. Then I realized he doesn't read books. Why am I giving him books? He listens to books. So, but anyway, no, I just think it's just been really great just to kind of help you be able to see what a mess you actually are and how much you really need Jesus to be able to have a marriage, and how much work marriage is, no matter how stinking great your spouse is. Like, it's really hard. And kids are really hard. Sorry, we have really hard kids.
I get it.
So that's my
Well, y'all, if anything, even if it wasn't, if it wasn't for this book, man, we wouldn't have this opportunity to be able to build off of, one another. But I think what's been really cool, just kind of wrapping up this book, but wrapping up this time is man, how much I think all of us has grown because of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Learning from each other, being able to pull bits and pieces, being able to really just experience a different way of communicating via, what is it, Zoom?
Yeah.
Via Zoom, to just hear from everybody and to kind of say, hey, what's going on? And what does it look like? What are you struggling with? What are, how can we help punch Satan in the mouth for you? You know what I mean? Like those types of things. I'll tell you what's been really cool for me is I've had to learn in this process to shut up more and just listen. Can you turn the ding off? How do you turn the ding off?
I don't know.
Sorry, she's like blowing up, and it's like
it's a group message, which
I've never been tortured, but I've been in a group message.
That's the truth.
Golly. Okay, so we're working on it, but anyway, can we turn this off?
I'm sorry.
This is
my family's sending me baby pictures. I don't know how to turn this off. Quit. Okay.
So there we go. Anyway, it's been really cool just kind of hearing from everyone. So, and yeah.
Anybody else? Kudos if you can try to keep Brandon awake.
Look, he's smiling.
I was gonna say, I'll share something. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Can you hear us? Okay. I have been a straight up, am I on? Okay. I have been a straight up curmudgeon is my word the last week. So we've had some disagreements, needless to say. And last night, I don't even remember how it unfolded. We started a conversation earlier in the day, and I like to resolve things, and sometimes Leela needs more time to process. And so we revisited later in the evening, and Leland was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make you happy, that sort of thing. And then for some reason I sat down to read this book, and this is like exactly what I started to read. It's on 251. It says, so feeling weak and unable is a good thing. Who wants to hear that, right?
Wow.
The thing that keeps us, the thing that keeps each of us from growing is not our assessment of weakness. The grace of God is greater than any weakness we may have. No, the thing that keeps us from growing is our delusion of strength. When we think we are righteous and strong, we do not seek the help of God. We help that God so tenderly and faithfully offers. Our marriage is not damaged by cries of weakness, but by pronouncements of strength. Our marriage is harmed by our reliance on our own wisdom, righteousness, and strength. In the biblical model, weakness is the portal of strength. It is when I admit that I am weak, that I seek the help of God and his incalculable power. So it was just like, is that like not what we needed to hear? Like in the moment when Lilo's like, I don't know what else to do. Like, and I struggle with the whole concept of weakness and that being strength, for many reasons, just, physical strength and loss of physical strength and all of that. So, just that self-reliance, because I am 100% guilty of self-reliance and trying to figure it out and trying to fix it myself. And, getting to the point where you're like, okay, I'm done, of surrender basically, and saying, hey, all right, here you go, God, do your thing. So it was just a God moment, I guess, a very clear God moment.
You're leaning like,
He's not saying much.
He's like, I'll let the Lord take care of that one.
Exactly.
It was funny. In our small
Indeed.
group, I had shared this past week that I had been irritable. And I was like, right, Leland? And he goes, and looks right past, like, wouldn't even acknowledge it. I was like, you're smart. So anyway.
Yeah, it was a long conversation yesterday, and I don't even know if we actually came to any conclusion. Huh?
I don't think we did.
Yeah. But one of the things that God kind of revealed to me, and I talked about it in my small group earlier this week, was I'm pretty good about praying and get myself ready before my work day, praying, doing my devotion and getting myself ready for the start of my day. When I roll into work, I feel covered. The problem is when I get home, I'm not. When I get home, the hardest relationship that I have to deal with is the one with my wife. And it's also the most rewarding one. However, I find that I don't seek God's wisdom. I'm not praying before I even get home. I'm not doing anything to get my mind prepared, because I prepared myself for work. But when I go home, I'm like, oh, I guess the day is over. I don't have to do anything else. The work is done. So home has been like more of a war zone than a safe haven. But I haven't sought God to cover me and to give me wisdom about how I need to deal with my wife and how I need to talk to my kids, because I just thought, I could just roll up in here and everything would be okay. So one of the things that I've started doing is I've started praying before I get home. So this week, I haven't really seen the results of my prayers, but I'm gonna keep doing it. And in faith, I know that God is going to work stuff out. So.
Right on. Man, that's a good word, man. That's a good word.
Yeah, that's rough. Matt coming home used to be very hard for us too, and we had to figure out, like, it was like a war zone. And we had to figure out, like, when he comes home, what does he expect? When I come home, like, when he comes home, what do I expect of him?
I want to keep my eyeball.
Sorry. So that was a riff for us too for a long time, because we couldn't figure out the routine, because the second he walks in the door, I'm like in the bath. Like, I just want to relax. Like, you got the kids, you're good. I'm going to go hang out by myself. Like, I just need 10 minutes. And that's all I needed. Like, I just needed 10 minutes. But he would look at it as, well, are you done for the night? Like, is it my turn? I mean, is this like tag team and now it's my turn? And, you just got to go do whatever you want for 3 hours. And that wasn't it. I just needed to go take a bath. And when I was out, I was done. Like, I was fine. I can function. Like, I can be mom again. And so we had to talk about that and figure out, like, what it is that he needed from me when he came home and what I needed from him. And so now we kind of have like a balance where as soon as he gets home, he goes and plays with the kids, and I do get some time. And then after I don't need long. Like, I don't need long, but I need some time, or it's just not going to be good. And then when we were done, when we come back together, he goes, we do something like with the family, but he gets his time to go and just kind of relax right after the kids go to bed, from 7:30 to whatever. He just hangs out. We hang out together. Usually I'm either doing work or whatever. But
well, I think for us too, we had to figure out. Okay, listen. Prime example. Was it yesterday morning? Yeah, yesterday morning. Man, we got up and we really try to fight for our time first thing in the morning. Listen, I need to spend time with you before the day gets crazy. So we sat on the couch and like got a cup of coffee. We were sitting on the couch and the kids kept coming in. And I was like, if you got a brain in your skull, you will get out of here. Because I can't function. Listen, if I don't get my time with my wife first, I can't function with you. Because if we ain't on the same page, I'm going to eat all y'all. I'm just going to eat everybody.
I'm going to eat you.
I'm going to eat you. And it was one of those deals. At the same time, I'm going, you know what? I need my wife before you get your mom. I need my wife before you get your mom. She was my wife way before we did what we did to get you here, which was amazing. And I'm glad that you are here. However, if you don't get out of here, you're going to meet Jesus. And that's basically what I told him. And so I'm fighting for my time to make sure that I'm getting what I need from her so that we can be on the same page to do what we need to do for the day. And man, it was kind of crazy. We don't normally do it this way, but man, Friday mornings, we have fought to make sure, man, Friday mornings, and man, we have the luxury of getting to do that because that's my day off. So man, we go and we go to our little deal on the beach and we have breakfast. We have breakfast together. We joke about the kids and stuff, but that's our time to just talk. Like, what's going on? Like, what are you dreaming about? What do you hate me for right now? Like, what do you love me for right now? You know, like, just like, let's get it out on the table. But we did that not only Friday, we also did it Saturday, and we took the boys to, you know, just kind of give them an opportunity. But before we went to eat breakfast, we had our time. So anyway, that was a long story to say this. How much are you fighting for your time with your spouse? How much are you fighting? Like, man, I know that I think everybody on here has kids. Well, not everybody, not yet. I hope I'm not prophesying yet. Maybe, you know, it's good.
They're like, we got 30 of them every day.
But I'm saying, you know, for us who do have kids, let me tell you something, man. Mama and daddy got to come first. And so if we aren't fighting to make sure that we are getting the time that we need in order to be on the same page, that's where a lot of the downfall comes. That's a lot of the downfall. And let's just get real too, okay? Now all of a sudden, we're not getting the emotional attention that we need for those who are emotional. And then that emotional need ain't getting met. And guess what? We brothers who need the physical, we need that sex. We need to, and we ain't getting that either. That makes for hell. It's just
a cycle at that point. Cycle. It's just like, well, he's not giving me this. Well, she's not giving me this.
Well, I'm not going to give you this. Well, you ain't giving me this. And well, I'm just going to throw punch you. Well, I'm going to throw punch you. And then it's like, oh my goodness. And it's just, you know what I'm saying? And so what I've come to learn, and listen, I'm still not there yet. I'm really not there yet. But I'm going like, the first thing I start to ask is, what is this really about? Like, what is this? Like, you mad at me for something. What is it? Like, because this is really about that. So can we just get to that so we can figure out what it is? Because listen, man, you speaking in Morse code. Stop tapping and just start speaking. You know, just speak to me. Help me understand what I need to fix so that I can get fixed too.
And
you know what I'm saying?
Usually 9 times out of 10, he has not prioritized time for me. I don't want to say you haven't.
That's not.
But
very
what I'm
nice.
saying
that's
is,
not true.
Would you hush? I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to like compliment you. Hold on a second. You gotta let me finish.
All right, well, that wasn't a good compliment. That wasn't a good compliment.
What I was trying to say was.
What happened was.
So like a couple weeks ago, there was some stuff that had fallen on our date day, and it got pushed back.
Okay.
And then the next weekend, it looked like it wasn't going to happen again. And I was like, you might want to take me on a date or I'm going to be really upset. I just needed quality time with him. That's all I need. And then whatever that man wants after that, he gets. Whatever that man wants.
That's pretty much a true story.
That is the truth. As long as he has made time for me, just quality time, we don't have to spend a dime. take me to the beach, take me to breakfast. It's only $5 if we get there by
Right
9.
on the early bird special,
Yeah,
$5,
yeah.
baby.
I mean, so I'm really easy to please, really easy to please. So as long as you are constantly making me feel like I'm important, then you get all of me. Whatever you want.
Well. Yeah, it's good.
Anybody have anything to say about that?
Would you like to borrow that?
One thing I've noticed, Matt, after reading this book, that your marriage has been enhanced is you've been a lot more cuddly.
I know.
You see this? You see this? Look at this.
Dude, your head was on her shoulder for like 5 minutes. And now you initiated your arm around her shoulder. I'm so proud of you, man.
Dude, man, I'm taking steps, bruh.
You're like a teddy bear. I want to cuddle with you for a little bit.
I'm sure you
Go,
can.
dude.
There's room for all.
There's room.
No, but seriously though, it's so funny. And I mentioned this before, maybe a couple weeks ago. But a lot of times we fight is because we haven't spent enough time with each other. And it's like we feel all of a sudden we get more distant, and then it's like we're at each other's throats, and all of a sudden it happens where we spend time with each other, and then you know what happens after that, Matt. And next thing you know, it's like birds are chirping. You're starting to realize where you're at. You start to realize your surroundings, and everything's great. But it's so true. And the coolest thing of it is that we just love each other, guys. We love each other. And we need to just make sure that we're balancing as best as we can. Because life is crazy. No one's perfect. None of us perfect. But the effort that Matt's talking about of just blocking some time for each other to make sure that connection that enhances communication. Everybody knows how important communication is, and then great things happen after that. You get the Fridays, the Brum Fridays, right?
Yeah.
Fridays going on. We started that. We're keeping it going. I'm telling you, man, it's magic. We're able to do it, and I'm moving stuff around. It's like, okay, I'm going to try. And if you don't think like sometimes it's doable, but sometimes you're like, well, wait a minute, I can actually maybe I can do this. And then all of a next thing you know, you got a block time, you're locked in, and that gets consistent. Magic starts to happen,
Yeah.
Well, here's
and we were guilty of it. I am a workaholic, known with my family and friends. I work too much. I don't see them enough. I don't see Kelly enough. I'm one of the biggest, guiltiest people of being, and I'm not, and I'm working my butt off so that we could spend more time with each other and all that. But it's gotten to the point where we're missing out. So this book and this class has helped kind of slap me in the face a little bit and say, let's get the wheels in motion. Let's get the Brum Friday going on, and it's working, that. Just the consistency and just being able to talk and connect. And it's kind of like it enhances the romance a little bit, because you don't want to get married and then next thing you're just like, you want to kind of keep it like how you fell in love with each other. Why did you fall in love with each other? I fell in love with her for these reasons. And, if you have those dates, those little times, like Matt, what you said, like, what are you dreaming about? Like that might seem simple, but it's one of those things where you're making it about her or vice versa, and you're connecting and you're keeping that like innocent, like I fell in love with you thing still going, which enhances the romance and all that other fun stuff that comes along with it, But it's really crazy how a little bit of time goes a long way.
It's good.
That's true. And you guys, if your kids are old enough to not burn the house down, it is okay for you to lock yourself in y'all's room for 10 minutes, because it don't take long, and do what you got to do.
That's it.
You just do it. You just do it. Don't say, "Oh, the kids are here," or the kids.
And you threaten the life out of them.
Well, yeah,
You look. Something better be broken. You better have something in your eyeball. Don't you be coming and knocking on this door.
Give them a big thing of food, put it right in front of them with a movie.
Right on.
That's what we do with Kate. We're like, Kate, what do you want? Oh, I want this, this, and this. All right, you got it. You want some dessert?
Yeah.
You want chip? You want fries with that? I'll get you some fries. You ketchup? We're out of ketchup. I'm going to the store. I'll be right back. You're all set? I'll see you in like 30 minutes.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
It's so true.
Yeah.
There's so much you can get done in that amount of time, man.
So much.
That's good.
Twice or 3 times.
I'm done. All right. Well,
yeah,
anybody else got something to talk about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, George and I really like the book. I've learned a lot about myself, like the underlying problems that we're having. I thought it was about one thing and it was something else. So I found that we both have a lot to work on. It seems kind of overwhelming. So we're just taking it one step at a time.
That is perfect.
That's good.
That is
Paw
perfect.
Patrol. I feel you. I hear you.
There you go.
I've liked the book a lot. This was, I think, the accountability that we needed more than anything, because I would say we have been very, very, very blessed with a really strong marriage. And then we had 3 kids really quick and got tired. Like, our marriage didn't get bad, it just got tired. And when you're tired in your marriage, you just stop working on things and you kind of coast. And that's where we were. And so this was really the best accountability for us. And it really put into words a lot of the coasting things we felt, but never really realized it. So I think it caught us before like anything bad happened. But at the same time, it like upped the ante for, you've had a good relationship, but like, let's go past that type of a thing. So it was really good. And I do, when you were talking about like protecting your time, I fiercely protect my mornings. Like my kids better be dying if they are coming downstairs.
Yeah.
Like fiercely protect them. And sometimes like Phil will make me feel like I'm a bad mom. Not quite that bad, but he'll be like, oh, what if they need nothing right now.
Right.
They need nothing
Correct.
in the next hour. They need to get their honey bums back up to their room.
Yeah.
And I put a light in their room on a timer, and you do not come out of your room before that light comes on. I call it their morning light. Do whatever. I don't care if you need to go to the bathroom, go back to your room, like play with your toys, read a book. Don't come downstairs.
Right.
So I fiercely protect morning times more than he does, I think. He's the one that's like, well, let me go see what they need. I'm like, well, he's done for. They suck him into the black hole.
That's true.
It's true.
That's what girl dads do, though. They're just like, oh.
Seriously.
They're crying.
Yep.
I love that.
Hey, newlyweds, speak up. What's going on with y'all?
All right. So I think for us, we were just talking that this has been a good learning experience since, again, we're new to this, but it's definitely opened up the door to conversation. And I think we've had good communication in the past, but just like the trust survey was something that we had never really done, and just kind of asking each other questions and, well, do I do this? Do you do this? And just hearing from y'all and hearing your experiences have also led us to question, well, okay, now we can be a little more prepared if this happens. Let's try to work on maybe not getting mad at each other, like what's the real reason or the root of the problem. And I think it's just been a great learning experience overall. And I'll be honest, we didn't read the whole book. We've skimmed chapters, but there's been parts that have stuck out to both of us that we've been like, okay, make a note of that. So next time something happens, we'll go to that chapter and be like,
oh, remember, like, I'll work on my patience. Like, we'll work on patience, or I'll work on quality time. You guys brought up quality time, and that's actually both of our love languages. Like, that's my number one. That's its number two. And I think, like you guys were saying, sometimes you can get in a rut, and I was getting confused with, is this actually quality time? Like, yes, we don't have kids, we don't have pets, but I think we'd get in a routine of just come home, make dinner, sit on the couch, do work. And Brandon would sometimes say, like, can you just talk to me? Like, you're so into your work right now. Like, this isn't quality time. And I was like, but I'm sitting right next to you, like, holding your hand. Like, this is quality time. And he was like, no, it's not.
No, sitting right next to me on her laptop, not holding my hand, just on her laptop.
Okay. But yeah, so we had to kind of talk about, well, what is quality time? And this, like, doing the marriage small group has been a good time for us to just, you know, it's been busy week, and we're getting prepared for the week. And, you know, this is a good time to just me and you, like, let's put the work down. Let's stop watching TV, even though Brandon's, like, really into this Patriots game right now. But yeah, so just working on not getting lazy, because I know that was, I think, in one of these chapters about laziness. And I definitely don't want to get caught up in that and look back and be like, am I just going through the motions?
Well, that's good. I don't know.
You got anything to say?
I was going to add something that I feel like probably I've heard a couple times, and so I just want to reinforce it because it's been a lesson that I've learned the last couple weeks. I think that we all love the community side of this and, like, the accountability piece of having a small group and being able to talk and discuss about things. But I think it's even more significant to take it to that next level of, like, seeking out your people that you can actually pick up the phone and call for wisdom or for advice or to, like, deal with real struggles. And I think that's probably been the most powerful tool that this book has allowed me to bring back relevant into my life, is that it's super simple to pretend things don't matter when they do. And for you to have your people to be able to tell you the real raw truth, even when you don't want to hear it, but when you need it. So that would be my like challenge for all of us, is to, like, take a moment and whether it's privately with yourself or whether it's with your spouse, like, who are your people? Like, who can you reach out to tonight if you got into an argument and you needed accountability, you needed support, you needed wisdom? You know, who are those people? And it could be someone from this group or it could be somebody not from this group, but I think that is definitely going to be necessary. No, I'm only 9 years into our marriage, but we've had a struggle for the last 3 weeks. We've been on the struggle bus. And I remember telling you guys when we started this, we were, like, on a super high, and the struggle was coming. Well, the struggle hit like a tornado and a hurricane with a typhoon. Like, bad. So that's been my greatest takeaway.
Well,
that's good advice, to have somebody, and that person should not be, well, this is my opinion, that person should not be your mom or, you know, your dad. Or
we actually, when we were getting married, the marriage, like, they called it marriage mentors instead of, like, marriage counseling. They, like, partnered you with a older, wiser couple, whatever. And they kind of set themselves as that couple, no matter where you are in your marriage, when it is. And they said the specific thing was that they're the neutral party. They're not on her side or his side. They're not her friends or his friends, her family or his family. They're neutral. And so they're amazing. Like, we still we don't always keep up with them. I mean, we've been married for 8 years, but still, like we were just saying, that's the couple. Like we have lots of people who are very, like we could pick up the phone and call them, but they might still sway one way or the other. They're like the couple. If shit hits the fan, they're the couple.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And I think that's what you need, is that somebody that's going to be real, and not tell you what you want to hear. And that's
Yeah.
really important, because when we went to counseling, I was hoping that somebody was going to tell me, this is what you're doing wrong. I'm not going to hit you again.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but she didn't. She sided with me, and then it caused a lot of problems. So anyway, I mean, it must have been true.
Here's something. I mean, here's something that I think most of you, except for Abby and Jeff, y'all know me. What you see is what you get. If you don't want my opinion, don't ask me. Don't ask me. And that's the honest truth. And that's how I want people to, that's how I want people to tell me. If I'm being a D-bag, tell me I'm being a D-bag and why I'm being it's okay. Like I will listen. Now, if I know you love me, you can tell me anything you want. If I know you love me and you got my best interest for me, you can tell me anything you want. But if I don't know you love me, you better keep your mouth shut, because it ain't gonna go over well. It just ain't. And I've learned that about myself. I've learned that this is the honest truth, man. If I know you care about me, and if you know I care about you, man, I want the best for you. Here's the 2 things I want you to know about me, and when you leave my presence. Number 1, it's all about Jesus. If you haven't been around me for 2 minutes and I ain't talked about Jesus, there's a problem. There's a problem. And number 2, I hope that you feel like you have left better than the way you came in. Like you left out of this whole deal better than what you came. Because I want that for you. I want to push you. I want to challenge you. I kind of want to hit hot topic buttons just to see what's going to happen sometimes. I think it's fun. I do. And I mean that because I love you. I really do. But the dinging has got to go. The dinging's got to go.
Unless I throw my computer on the floor. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. What? There's
It's
no
quick.
other
I don't know.
option.
Well, it's hooked up to your phone, so whatever. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, I love you. Yeah. Number love. Hearts. Is that even a heart? There we go. Hearts right there. Boom. Hearts.
You're so weird.
She is.
Lopsided.
Lopsided because you got little hands. You got puppy dog hands. Well, man, anybody else want to throw something down? Don't you know him? Give him that affection. Give him that affection. Anybody else? That's a good word, Rachel. That's a good word.
Yeah, I like that. Neutral party.
Feel. It's a good word.
What was the pastor of that church called? What was his name?
We'll talk about it later. I don't know.
Oh. I was trying to figure out who's y'all's people are. Do we know? Oh, we don't know.
Philbrook, Rachel.
Oh, okay.
It was from 8 years ago back at the church that I grew up in. No,
Okay.
Southbrook.
I thought it was Southbrook. What's his name?
no, it was before that.
Did you know who I was thinking of, though?
Nope.
Rob. Oh,
No.
Kevin?
Yes, Kevin. That's
Oh,
what I
you're
thought.
talking
Definitely not.
No,
Okay,
definitely
okay.
not Kevin.
Sorry.
All right, any final comments?
It's really hard to find those kind of people. Yes. It is hard to
It
find
is.
those kind of people.
But if you need one, I got you back.
Girl. You know
We
I'm
got
here.
you. We got you.
You know I'm here. I will not side with you.
That's a
I will not.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
I have said, now what would Jeff say? A couple times. I have.
Leland, Hope, final thoughts? Anything?
You have anything? I mean, I enjoyed every Sunday night of this group. You know, I see that we went from like, what was it, like 30, I think, that first night.
Right.
And we've dwindled down to a consistent, I think, 8 couples, which is great because I think it definitely made it a lot more intimate. And I think we were definitely able to connect a whole lot more. So it was great. Yeah.
All I was gonna say was, I know I had my thought earlier when I was reading. I was like, it's basically what Jess said. What one thing do I want to take away and like implement? You know, because there's so much good stuff in it, but it was like, what one thing do I want to take away and actually do? Because there's so much good stuff, but it's not enough to just know it. It's enough, you know, to do it. Like, so I don't know if I've identified that one thing. I just think that the whole idea of sin as self and just the war of the kingdom of self, how much that gets in the way.
Yeah.
I think this has been great. I think it's great. I think it's great to know, like, you know, the relatability. We're all in this together. We all go through all of this stuff and what we're going through and have been through and we'll go through.
It's all very common.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you could look at any of those couples and be like, oh, I can relate to that. Okay. And I think in a way there's hope in that, because then it's not like, oh, we're the only ones, or this is you, or this is me, you know. It's part of the struggle. So I think there's hope in that.
Yeah, I love that. And you know, this to hold yourself accountable, you have to be intentional. You guys were intentional. I mean, technically in my mind, it's 10 o'clock right now, and you guys are all on here, and every single week you've been consistent, and that takes intentionality. And it's very easy for us to push this type of stuff on the back burner, especially when things are going well. When things are going well, you don't want to read a marriage book. Like, it's just not, it's because you're like, well, I don't really need to do this right now because things are going well. And so this is exactly what my vision of a group was. And I had this vision years ago, and I just kept putting it off because I'm like, we fight, you know, like, who's going to do a marriage class with us? Like, we don't know what we're doing. We fight. And so, but I'm so it brings out the ugliness in us, but it also shows us the foundation is Jesus, and that's all that matters. And you have to be right with him in order for you to be right with everybody else around you. And I think, and then you add kids to it, and it makes it so much harder, you know, because it's just another dynamic, and they're always there, and you know. So this has been
it's good.
Amazing for us.
Dang.
Hey, so I wanted to add this super quick, and I'm not going to talk anymore. Page 162. This is like a call to action for all of us. I'm all about call to actions tonight. I don't know why. So we could do like a little sticky note and put this in our bathrooms, or you could put it on your refrigerator. But at the bottom, it says, I have committed myself to pray these 3 prayers every morning, even before I get out of bed. God, I am a man in desperate need of help today. Obviously, I would say woman. The second prayer is, I pray that you would send your helpers my way. And then the third one, Lord, give me the humility to receive the help when it comes. So that's like 3 things that I believe if we all were doing that daily, be a pretty powerful change. 162. So I thought.
I love that. I'm going to write those down for sure. Those are perfect.
All right, so I'm going to be devil's advocate real quick
Okay.
because I like this, okay? So my question is, ask yourself the question, has he already done it? And if he has, are you willing to accept those and whom he's placed into your life? I'm just saying, like, God, as God has placed those people in your life. Because here's the deal. I think, because Jess said this the other day, all right? Because Jess said this the other day. Oh, God, give me a sign. Oh, give me a sign that this is you. Oh, okay, God, give me another one to make sure it's you. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what we do. I think, and I'm just going to, this is where I
said.
That's exactly what you just said.
No, I did a post.
Well, that's what you post. I just still what you said.
I know, well.
But anyway, here's what I think our biggest struggle is we are educated beyond our faith. We are educated beyond our faith. We've got a whole lot of head knowledge. We're seeking God. Oh, God, yeah, I'm spiritual. But when it comes down to it, are you willing to step out of the boat? Are you willing to step into the river to see if it's going to part? Are you willing to hold up the staff to see if the Red Sea is gonna split? I believe, man, we've got this. Oh yeah, I get it here, but man, we ain't willing to take the step to see if it's actually going to happen. And I believe that God places those people in our lives, and yet we can't see the trees through the forest. So I think, man, one of the things that I would say is not only pray, but do not be hearers of the word only, but be doers. So keep moving as God is praying, and God is going to bring those people in your life. And I believe he's already brought them into your life. And I'm not just talking about for you, I'm talking about for all of us. But are you willing to take the step to utilize the people that God has placed in your life?
Church.
Just curious.
That's good, Matt. That's really good.
Just the thought.
Always challenging me.
You little devil, you.
I just. All right, y'all. Well, it is 9:04.
Okay, let's take a picture. Everybody get close.
Are you for real? Like, what you gonna do? Squish in the boxes? Like,
Yeah. Come on in.
I'm
Okay,
in.
ready?
You have to send it to me.
Okay, I'm going to. I'll post it in our group. Okay, ready?
No.
Brown.
Take the picture.
Okay, ready? 1, 2,
I think I blinked.
Bro, what are you doing?
I'm taking a selfie.
He thinks he's filming.
That's awesome.
That was the best. Okay.
We're good. We got it.
Look at that fool.
That's dope. That's so funny. It builds character.
Oh my gosh. I'm keeping it.
All right.
Whatever. Yeah. You dap
Boom.
your own self.
Does anybody else besides us want to pray us out tonight? Anybody want to pray us out?
I just have a question. I
Oh.
want to pray. I mean, I will, but I don't want to. I mean, I will if you. Hold on.
I got to.
Gotta be spiritual.
What are we doing? What are we doing next?
Oh girl, that was the magic question. It's now in your hand.
I think we need to go away and pray about
I
it.
guess you're leading.
Abby, you're leading.
Well, I have one.
Oh.
Jess already has it.
I'll see y'all next week.
I'm just saying. I mean, we can't stop this. I'm just saying because we don't have this here, and we need it.
Let's take a week off.
What's the book?
Well, Jess, have you started it?
What's the book?
No, but I got it.
What's the book?
It's called Seamless by Angie Smith.
Yeah.
It's not like a marriage Bible study. It's like about the whole it's about the whole Bible, but it's like it kind of puts it in chronological order because the books of the Bible jump around so much and makes it make sense, and then talks about like what God's intention was for all these different. Yes, that's it.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. It's really good.
It'd be good for you to like talk about since you and Jesus are like that.
Well, so are you. That don't mean I know everything.
Well, you remember everything he says and where it's located.
Google knows it too.
Siri knows.
Siri does.
I'm sure if I say Alexa, she will answer.
Oh my gosh. I need one of those.
I think it's creepy. I think I'm getting rid of it.
It's called Siri.
Yeah, don't get rid of it.
The thing talks to me all the time when I'm not talking to it.
I know that happens in my home too. It is kind of weird.
I'm kind of afraid, like the middle of the night, she starts talking about what's playing on Spotify.
Oh my.
I'm sleeping. Anyway.
I mean, that's
Scare me.
definitely.
Okay. Well, why don't we what should we do? Take a week off and then do a poll or something? Or
Yeah, can we do a poll in the group?
yeah, we can do a poll.
Sure.
Anybody's ideas. If you have an idea, if you have a book, if you have what you want to do. I mean, our marriages should be awesome now. So
Good there. That box is checked.
We have a lot of people that want to do this too.
Yeah, we have 2 friends from our church that are like, we want in on this. We were like, oh, we never even thought to.
I know.
Dude.
Yeah.
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 Because they're like in the same boat with kids and
Yeah.
just, or like time issues and
Yeah, I guess we could open up one more spot.
one more.
We're kind of a club now, so I don't know.
Well, the 30-day sex challenge is always a good book.
She's all about it.
I'm on. I've
I'm
got
just
day one now.
Damn,
We're
bro.
just saying. It's super easy read too because the holidays are here.
Oh, wait a minute. It's a book you read?
You get to read it?
I thought it just has pictures.
No, it's on Amazon.
That might be helpful. I mean,
High five, bro. I got you.
It's by Susie Worth. It's
a real thing?
Yeah.
I thought she was just like, boom, like day one, get it. Day
No, it's $12.
Then you gotta pay for it too. What is this?
Yes, you have to pay. It's $12.
The sex is free though.
Do they throw in like toys or something?
Oh, this is going downhill.
Guys, yeah, it's after 10 in our heads, and then
Hey, do not Google that.
Yeah, don't Google that.
I mean, you'll get lots of challenges.
I didn't Google it. What?
Just don't put it in YouTube and you'll be okay.
I'm dying.
Golly. All right.
okay.
Okay. Now,
That was just a thought.